I'm so pleased to be here, and the Stampede is 102 years old. You know that, and it was created in celebration of my birthday. The day I was born, Calgary Stampede began. Thank you. I just the suppressor. I'm just very pleased to be back in Calgary. I've been here more than once. I don't know how many times exactly, but more than once. And I'm looking forward to having a great time. My family's coming up this afternoon, so all of my immediate family out of California are coming up to enjoy the spectacle, and we're looking forward to it. So, to all of you who are watching this, I urge you to come to the Calgary Stampede. It is going to be more fun than a barrel of monkeys. I'll take questions.
Bill.
Yes? What is it?
Last year, the parade...
How are you? Good to see you.
Last year, the parade marshal was a real astronaut.
Was a real
spaceman. This year, it's a made-for-TV spaceman.
Hey, just a second here.
Do you see a pattern here?
I see a pattern where you believe that the astronaut actually went to the moon. As you may or may not know, there's reason to believe that it was all a hoax. Whereas you know, it really was a hoax with me. So you have assurance, you have certainty with me. Whereas the astronaut, there is some niggling doubt as to whether you really went to the moon. There's no niggling with me.
Are you planning to make a trip down to Vulcan? It's a small town just south of Calgary.
Is there a town of Vulcan south of Calgary? I will avoid that assiduously.
I think the entire town of Vulcan will be on the parade route.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Your friend Leonard's been there.
Yes? Why, I wonder?
Bill, I'm Tiffany Burns from Blue Bezos.
I'm sorry, you're what?
Tiffany Burns from Blue Bezos, a fashion blog.
Blue Bezos.
Yes.
Okay.
And as you know, Campede's cowboy style, stampede style is super important this time of year.
Yes.
What are you going to be wearing tomorrow?
Black underwear.
That's hot.
I'm wearing clothes that the store of which we're standing in front. A shirt. I'm going to wear suspenders. I've decided to make a style statement, and instead of a belt with this phony buckle, you see, I have real buckles, but I left them at home. I've won championship buckles in reining, and actually, I am a reiner. Breed, sell, and train quarter horses. Same with American saddlebreds. And in fact, I have a baby, a standardbred, who is called, we've called her Against All Odds, because the mare who carried the baby was infected for a long time, couldn't conceive for the longest time. So I've got one standardbred baby. So I can say I'm in the standardbred breeding business as well. So that's 3 types of horses, which qualifies me as a horseman. And I've won buckles, but I'm not going to wear a buckle tomorrow.
So just the black underwear and the suspenders.
That's right. It's a style statement, and Bezos should be aware of that.
Okay.
What are you going to be wearing? Underwear as well. I see that.
Fully clothed. I'm not going to tell you the color of my undies.
Oh, I'm sure.
There may be some suspenders you call.
It'll keep us in suspense.
What's the best part of spending 2 or 3 hours straight on a horse?
What's the benefit?
What's the best thing about it?
Well, I could be facetious and say if the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man, and spending a long time on the outside of a horse makes it even better for the inside of a man. But on the other hand, riding has become meaningful, I want to avoid the word spiritual, a meaningful event for me. My ability to guide a horse in competition has improved dramatically over the years because I've begun to understand a horse's nature better and better. The more I ride, the more I read, the more I talk about it. So there is a meaningful side to riding a horse. It doesn't involve being on a trail ride in the Rockies and enjoying nature. There's a conversation that takes place between a horse and man at a certain skill level, and the longer I'm in conversation with one or more horses, the better I feel.
Mr. Shatner, let's go Bill Graham.
Phil,
Were you ever in a Western?
was I ever in a Western? Yeah, lots. And in fact, I was in one of the more Western of Westerns, which was I played Alexander the Great and had to ride without a saddle on a 5-gaited champion from California. So there's footage of me riding bareback at full gallop, which is an interesting experience.
I've heard that one of your tips for riding a long time on a horse without chafing is pantyhose.
Yes.
To follow up on her
Bezos
question, yeah.
has got really good pantyhose.
Tomorrow, can we expect
When you do those 25, when you endurance race, you bleed a lot if you don't wear that. The problem was I suggested it to Patrick Stewart during a movie with me, and he wore it on the outside. And I thought that was uncalled for.
Are there any musical acts that you look forward to seeing here?
Any musical acts?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of who's here, but
Shania?
Shania.
Reba?
Reba.
He's just going to repeat it.
Actually,
Cage's the elephant.
I know them both, and they're terrific, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
At 3 o'clock, you have
I'm sorry?
At 3 o'clock, you have an event where you're hosting. People can come and listen to you speak about your life with the horse and your life in Hollywood. What do people have to look forward to?
I hope they won't look forward to being bored by the story of my life. I don't know. The voyage of discovery for them and for me as to what I'm going to say and what it's going to be is in itself an exciting event. So if you're going to be there, we'll all discover what I'm going to say together. It gives us sort of union.
Kevin from CTV.
Kevin,
A lot of people, when it was announced that you were heading the parade, the immediate comment was, Captain Kirk, PJ Hooker, what's he doing leading the parade?
Yeah.
What do you say to those people?
follow me.
I'm Colleen from Canadian Living.
Yes.
What would you say is the most Canadian thing about you?
Oot, a boot, and hoose.
Do you have a favorite Canadian place or food or something that you associate with
Poutine. Poutine is my least favorite food. But I just saw George St. Pierre in a restaurant just a moment ago. And I have very few heroes, actually none, except for George St. Pierre. I've watched him grow and become this great mixed martial arts champion. And I was thrilled. I met him in the restaurant just now.
So now you like poutine?
Now I feel Canadian. And we're both from Montréal, so je parle français avec lui et c'est tout que je sais. Mon vocabulaire est perdu. Maintenant, je suis fini.
Mr. Shatner?
Yes.
Travis Merchant with CBC.
That's so good to meet you.
I just wondered, what's your experience been like at the Stampede so far?
What has it been like?
What's it like, yeah?
Terrific. I've got all these cameras in my face. Well, I've been to Calgary. I did something here a couple of times, and it's a great city. And I'm looking forward to. I really am looking forward to spending time. We are going to go. My family and I are going to go on a trail ride near Banff on Saturday. I'm looking forward to the Stampede. I go to rodeos. I was in Las Vegas for the finals last year. So I go to rodeos. And I watch rodeos on television. I love rodeos. I love to see a guy on a bucking horse and the bulls. I mean, you stand there or you sit in the stadium and you wonder, how can a guy be so crazy? You know, how stupid is it to get on a bull? And then he goes 9 seconds or 8 seconds, and everybody cheers, and the bull goes off into the chute.
Hi,
No, it's the best time. Please, go ahead.
Elizabeth from Monte Cristo magazine.
Oh, Elizabeth.
I'd like to ask you a question about past work you've done.
Past work.
With the captains.
The captains.
Yes. Did you get out of it what you were looking for? And did you have a personal sort of resolution at the end?
What Elizabeth is referring to, I've been directing a number of documentaries of late, the last 3 or 4 years, and I made a documentary on the actors who played the captains of Star Trek and what unifies them, what separates them. And I discovered along the way, prior to doing the documentary, I've been doing talk shows, doing shows, interview shows. I'm interviewing the people. Now, I had a facility to explore a person's personality. And in that documentary, I got in depth on some of the actors. It was very fulfilling. Both in the short period of time that I was with all 5 people, I felt that we had bonded and that we're friends at this point as a result of making that documentary. So the captains was a wonderful experience for me. Bombardier, the Canadian airplane company, lent me an airplane to find all these people. Turns out that the Steve Rodolphe of Bombardier became an aeronautical engineer because of Star Trek, and he repaid his debt by lending me an airplane, which reminds me about airplanes and travel. Priceline.com, but Priceline.ca, CAC, is coming, the app is appearing in September here in Canada, and it's a major success in the States and in Europe, Priceline.com. So you all should be aware that this great facility, this app that is really works, is coming to Canada, so that's noteworthy as well.
Can you talk a bit about the first horse that you owned?
First horse that I rode? That's vaguely on the lines I want to talk about at 3 o'clock. But in a sentence, I had some land and I was being urged to buy a horse. So I went to an auction, and there was this 12-year-old kid. This is more than a sentence, isn't it? Who knew horses, and he said, "You should buy this horse." And I said, "I am not." The guy up there said, "And sold." And I had the choice to make whether to say I was, and be embarrassed, so I did, in fact.
But did the horse turn out to be a good one?
He turned out to be, yes, he turned out to be a good one. I eventually called him Harley, so I would get on my Harley. And he became, I introduced a Western pleasure class to the American Saddlebred competition. It's called the Shatner class, and it's for horses that don't have all that set head and animation. It's more for your backyard horse. Although human beings being what they are, it started off being for a backyard horse and evolved into now, great horses that are your backyard horse. So there's a Shatner class there as a result of my bidding on that horse.
Excuse me, one more first question.
Bezo?
Well, it's actually Tiffany from Bezos, but you can call me Bezos. That's okay.
I want to call you Blue.
All right. Have you ever played polo?
Have I ever played polo? No, and I tell you why. I have a number of friends who walk with severe limbs, having banged their knees. That's apparently, and I like my knees, so I know I don't play polo.
All right.
But I've ridden polo ponies.
Pardon me?
But I've ridden polo ponies.
And what do you
I've
think
breezed. Well, they're indefatigable. You can't, they'll never stop. They just keep going.
Mr. Shatner, is there another feature film in the offing for you?
I've just made 3 films. I finished the last one last week. It's called Sunday's Horse. It's about Touch of Class, the jumping horse of some years ago.
Directing?
No, I was acting.
What about television series?
Television. Well, right now I'm doing a webisode I'm calling Brown Bag Wine Tasting. We're about to get a sponsor for that. I've got a number of things going on in television at the moment. I'm doing these documentaries, first one of which we're playing in Canada in September or October on one of the stations. I'll think of it in a second. But it's called Chaos on the Bridge, my new documentary, and it'll be playing on Canadian television in September or October.
How much cajoling or coaxing did it take to get you to come up here this day?
Cajoling and coaxing? Well, Canadian steaks are grass-fed for the most part, and so they dangled a little ribeye, and that's all it took.
You know, I remember a conversation in the evening on the cell phone when I was riding in the woods of Santa Barbara.
Yes.
And you called me
And I said,
late at night, and I was drinking beer.
oh, right, and roasting steaks.
Roasting steaks, and so you called me, and we had a good chat
Yes.
out in the California woods there, and I insisted he come up.
And I will. On Harley. No, he's old.
What kind of horse is he?
American Saddle. That particular horse.
What's your entrance into the parade tomorrow?
On a block out. I'm in an antique car with my wife, who's more modern than the antique car.
Steven?
Ever since you were announced as the parade marshal, I've noticed a hashtag on Twitter come up over and over again.
Yes.
Let's get shat-faced.
Let's get shat-faced?
Yeah. Have you heard of that? And what are your thoughts?
No, but why not? Then you won't see the rodeo.
I have a question. The last time I actually interviewed you, I talked about alien testicles and I called you Bill. This time I want to know, I've decided that when I'm 83 years old, I want to look as good as you do. And I'm wondering
Who's 83?
what advice you might have. That's what the media
Advice?
said.
Shave your beard. Takes years off it. Okay. Well, what do you think?
So I think we have time for 2 more questions, and then we're gonna just do a quick photo op.
A photo op, like they haven't been taking pictures.
You're not riding a horse. Do you wish you could?
I had a choice. I don't know the horse. I've ridden a horse in parades before. It's long, it's hard on the horse. That surface is very tough, even with the shoeing. But more that I don't know the horse. The horse I did ride in the parade was mine. The horse I rode was mine. And the trainer, I was behind a band. I was behind the UCLA band on a horse. The trainer said, when I arrived, I've doped the horse, I've calmed the horse down. But how much do you give a horse who's behind the UCLA band? Boom, boom, boom. How much ace do you give the horse? So he had to guess. So the band started up like that, and it was very calm. Then the band took a right turn because it was going to go around again, and I was leading the parade. By about the 3rd block, the horse got real sleepy. At the 4th block, I had to get off and lead the horse. He had over-raced the horse. That was the last time I was in a parade.
All right, Candace, last question.
What do you think of your 2 co-parade marshals?
What do I think of what?
Your 2 honorary parade marshals tomorrow.
I'm not understanding that question.
Your 2 Olympic boys that are going to be with you.
The Olympic,
Yes.
the Olympic young people.
Yes. What do you think of your 2 boys riding with you?
Fantastic. They're the most wonderful examples of Canadians. They're true champions, Olympic champions. We should be so proud of them. Okay?
We're just gonna move this, or actually we can come in front of this if you guys wanna. We're just gonna we're gonna present a belt buckle.
So we, well,
I need a belt.
on the overall hierarchy of Western fashion, suspenders rank somewhat below buckles here in Calgary. So on behalf of the Stampede, we wanted to present you
That's a
one
buckle.
particular with a horse on it.
Oh my
so
God.
we'll never find you a belt.
Yeah, but it's got to be soft leather.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is something else. Montana silversmith. This isn't brass.
Oh, this is Calgary Stampede. We do everything first class.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyway,
How come I came coach?
Can you show us, Bill?
Yes. Look at that. See, there's a show.
John,
I had-
let me just
Yes, please. Thank you.